Do you love chili plants? This is how to sow them. So sowing chilies is a really important thing to do early. The earlier you do it, the earlier you'll get a crop, and we have a relatively restricted window for fruiting in the UK. So the earlier you do it, the more fruit you're going to get as well. So sowing now is super important. You can even sow just before December if you've got the equipment and the facilities to do it. So I've got my cell tray, I've got seeds, you're obviously going to need seeds, good quality compost, and a watering can. So this is how you sow them. So I've got my cell tray here. You're obviously going to need something like this. You can go into a pot as well. I've also got a drip tray. So chilies need to be warm. So they're going to go on a windowsill, in a greenhouse or somewhere like that. So if you're going on a windowsill, a drip tray is really important because you don't want to wash water all over your kitchen. So what I'm going to do is fill this cell tray with a good quality multi-purpose compost. You can use a seed and cutting compost as well. Any lumps, break them up. We find they work really well in this multi-purpose compost. It isn't particularly high in feed, which is why it works particularly well for it, and it is peat free. It drains really well as well, which chilies are going to absolutely love. So I'm smoothing over, just making sure there's enough compost in there. Tap it down. If it sinks at all, which it did in this corner here, I just want to just top it up. So, but that's what we're looking for, a nice smooth surface that is perfect to sow your chilies onto. Now, chili seeds aren't the smallest, but they're also not the biggest seed. So what we tend to do here at the nursery, if we're doing hand sowing, is we've got this little tiny little spoon, and we can pour some seed on there. We're only going to sow a few. Okay. This is a cashmere chili, which is nice and hot, good for Indian cooking. And then we can then use this little slide here just to push the chilies down. Now, we want them fairly central, and because chilies is rare that you get 100% germination, I'm going to put 2 seeds in each cell tray. Just like that. I'll do a couple so you can see how we're doing it. So I would complete it if I was doing it at home. So they're just sitting on the surface. I haven't pushed them down, nothing like that. Then I can put the spare seed back into the packet, and all I need to do is just top up with a little bit of compost. So I'm just very lightly covering it, just so I cover the seed. Okay, just like that. So you can't see the seed anymore. Not pushing it down, I'm just sort of leveling it over. Then, as when you're sowing any seed, it's really important to give it a good water. At this stage, you almost can't overwater it. It's pretty rare. We want to make sure we get all of the water to soak into the cell, into the compost. So the best tip I can give you is wait for it to settle and give it a little water again. It takes a little bit of time, the first watering, but the first watering is by far the most important. And once you've done that, it goes in a nice warm spot, in this case with a cover, or you could use sort of a plastic bag to keep the moisture in. A warm spot, I'm talking about it ideally being 25 degrees. We always germinate our chilies at around about 28 degrees. So if you've got the facility to do that, it's perfect. They don't need light to germinate, so an airing cupboard would work well. But as soon as you start seeing life, then they're going to need some light. So you can lift the lid off, something like that is perfect. Make sure it's nice and moist in there all the time, just to get the germination started. And depending on the chili, it can take anywhere up to 10, 20, maybe even 25 days to germinate, depending on the quality of the seed. So don't give up too early. If you've got any questions at all, get in contact. See you soon.